Right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another video with me and Chandler. This time we're doing a Corporate Clash gag prestige tier list. As you guys know, we got tune-up, trap, lure, throw, squirt, zap, sound, and drop. Now, Chandler, you want to tell them what the tune-up prestige is, and then we'll rank tune-up where we see.
Yeah, absolutely. So Prestige Tune-Up increases the self-heal provided to the user by 40% instead of 25% of the total life healed. In addition, the cheer effect, which gives you a 10% accuracy boost to each tuna heals an extra round.
That's right. So I'm going to personally rank tune-up B tier, to be honest. I like the bonus self-heal whenever it's really needed, but in most situations it's really not, so I'll place it in B tier since it's useful when it's useful.
So I agree with you for the most part. However, what I like about it is the additional round of cheer, because it seems like everyone complains about the RNG in this game, and if there's some way you can alleviate that, then you're going to find a way to do it. I mean, the 40% self-heal is cool, but I just like it for the additional cheer. I'm going to put it in A tier because it's just so great in managers, and ultimately there's really not a weak point on when to use it. It just is great in managers, but it's not otherworldly. But if you just want to put it on, it doesn't hurt. So that's why I'm going to put it in A.
Okay. I can't disagree with what you were saying. Good assessment. So next, we're going to cover trap. You want to cover that prestige? And we'll rank
Yes, this is definitely the most basic one. So all prestige trap does is increases its damage by 20%.
Yeah. But it also gives bonus damage to the EXEs. Oh, I think it's just 20% too, right?
It's 30%, but that's just tied with the trap gag. The only thing the prestige does is just increases it overall by 20%.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I haven't played it so long. You can see that.
7 months.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to place this one. I'm placing this one into A, just because I love how much damage you can put out with prestige trap. Whenever we're doing stuff, just us two, we always use trap a lot. So I'm personally going to place this into A just because of its bonus damage.
This might be the most basic prestige, but you have to think, trap already does a lot in itself. So that 20% is going to mean way, way more.
That's right.
So if you throw out a TNT on an executive cog in its prestige, I think it does like 437 damage. And let me tell you, the 3 trap 1 lure strategy is so good, especially in the wave content. So I would always have it on. The only time I wouldn't is if you're doing like a manager and not solely focused on doing damage, you just want the dazed effect. In that case, it wouldn't matter. So I'm going to put in S tier. I can't think of a time where you wouldn't want to have trap prestige. Might as well not have it if you're not going to prestige it.
Yeah, that's
unless,
right.
as I mentioned before. Yeah, but that's if you're going with a team and anything's up for determination at that point. But I'm just saying, in the general game, if you're going with randoms, just please have it on. Major player, have prestige trap.
Oh yeah, that's a big saver. That's a big saver if you have it in there.
Yep.
All right. Well, it was a good assessment. So now we got lore. I think most people know what lore is. It's probably one of the most used prestiges in the game, but you want to go over that real quick?
So prestige lure increases the knockback damage of single target lure gags by 15% and group target lure gags by 25%.
Yep, that's right. So I'm going to place this into S tier. You really can't go wrong with prestige lore. Freaking, you put a $50 bill down. Oh my goodness, that that knockback damage is amazing. You pair that with some wedding cakes. Oh, it's just. I love Prestige lore. I have to put it in S tier.
Well, this is gonna definitely be shocking since I think it's well documented that lore is my favorite track and I think is the best non-prestige track in the game. But it's going in B tier. I'm sorry, but there's one reason why, and it's the idea of expanded potential, which means the power of lore is not expansive when all 4 tunes have a prestige. You only need 1 or 2 people with it.
That's true. That is true.
And here's the thing about that. If you have a prestige hypno, that's 63 knockback. But if you 2 prestige hypnos, it's still going to be 63 instead of 126. That's what I mean by the expanded potential. If that was the case, that would be S++, but it's not. So,
yeah,
ultimately, you only need 2 people with it.
That's true.
When 4 people have it on, that's just overkill. You might as well put that prestige point somewhere else. That's my problem with it. You just don't need 4 people running it. You only need 2. 2 people having it, 4 people having it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. Except those 2 should probably put the prestige point somewhere else.
Yep, I agree. And I mean, we even implement that into our runs. We usually have 1 or 2 of us with prestige lore, sometimes even just 1 of us. So
exactly, but it's still good to have when I would equip it is if you just love luring and you kind of want to be that person that lures all the time.
Yeah.
And if you just want to take advantage of knockback with throw and squirts.
True.
But if you feel
that.
like you're not going to lure too much, you can have it on by 1 prestige it or ultimately just not have it.
True that. All right, well, next we're moving on to prestige throw. You want to cover that one?
Well, let me tell you, this is the most overrated prestige in human history, but prestige throw allows for the user to heal for 20% of the gag's damage dealt. Just the base damage, no combo, no knockback is included.
Yep, that's right. With that being said, I like the healing factor a little bit, but I just don't think that it's worth having it prestige all the time. I mean, in or in manager runs, it can definitely be useful, but I'm gonna place this into C tier because I just don't. It's just too overrated for me, like you said. Personally, I think that Corporate Clash needs to give it like its 10% damage boost again, but we might not see that. Hopefully we do. I don't know. But where do you place it?
Well, it's going right there, buddy. C tier. It's just too situational. In managers, it's amazing, but it's been well documented that Zap's been the most controversial track. I think Prestige Throw is right there with it now. I have gone into many arguments with people. They're like, why do you not have Prestige Throw? Keep in mind, this is in wave content. You don't need Prestige Throw and wave content. You're not going to get hit too much. If something does go wrong, one person can just tune up, the other 3 can do what they need to do. You're not hardly wasting any time. You could put that prestige point to more useful things like squirt, zap, sound, trap. But I just don't see the use of it outside of managers. The only times I would say have it on is if you're doing managers, if you're going with randoms and you already know they're going to suck, which is really apparent in this game, or if you're soloing stuff. Because besides you, nice doodles are gone. Throwing with a prestige is the only way you're going to get healing back. But those are so situational. That's why I have to put it in C. I know we pissed a lot of the community off, but I'm all for it.
Yep, me too. Me too. Okay, well, next we have Prestige Squirt. You can cover that one again real quick. Although it's pretty easy.
Again, This one's basic. All Prestige Squirt does is increases the splash damage to 50% of the base damage of the squirt instead of 25%.
Yep. I love Prestige Squirt. I mean, we use it a lot in all of our runs. It's especially extremely useful in manager runs. I mean, I don't think it's the best Prestige, so I'm going to personally place it into A tier. I mean, anybody could obviously argue it's S tier. You know, that extra damage you get, the extra splash damage you get, I really like that. But I'm going to place it into A tier just because I personally think it's A tier.
Well, get ready because I'm putting this in S tier 100%. And you just have to think, the creativity you can use with Prestige Squirt, it's not well documented because people don't like to think too hard. But let me tell you, I think when doing knockback, I feel like now Squirt is better than Throw. Because now it's not based on the throw and the squirt with the knockback. It's just the lure gag itself. So the gap between using Throw for knockback and Squirt for knockback, the overall damage is going to be way more narrow. And although you're going to be doing less damage with Squirt to that one cog, because of the cogs nearby, you're doing more overall damage. Yeah. Something else is you can meet HP thresholds on cogs to set up easier things the very next turn. So I'm going to throw this example out randomly. Let's just say we've got 4 cogs. From left to right, you got a 12, 12, 15, 14. Someone Hypnos, you're going to 2 Prestige Hose the 15. That level 14 that had 240 is going to get 60 off it. It's going to be at 180. And if a cog comes out that's favorable, you can 4-trunk it in that case. And a lot of people don't take advantage of knockback with Squirt, and I don't know why. Because you can solve a lot of problems easily if you just think. Because everyone always uses Throw for knockback. But why? Throw has no AoE. Throw is so one-dimensional. So if you're extremely creative with it, I would say 100% use Squirt more than Throw with knockback. That's personally what I do. Extremely rare case. And if you're going to combine it with Prestige Zap, that is the best combo imaginable. When you're doing this soak stuff and you're doing more damage because of that soak, you won't have to use as strong of zaps. So when would I use it? Well, I usually put it on all the time. But if you just love to Squirt and Zap, have it on 100%. If you want to do knockback with lure, 100% put it on. And if you just want to be different and you just enjoy the creativity and finding convoluted solutions to maximize the overall production of the team, have it on. So extremely uncommon argument, but I think this is the best Prestige in the game.
Okay. I mean, can't go wrong with that analysis. Like I said, you can make any argument for Squirt being an S tier. I think it's definitely one of the best Prestiges. In my opinion, I think Lure is just a little bit better, but definitely Squirt is up there. So next we're going to go on to Zap. And so, Zap originally, its pool damage is 90% of its base damage, but when it's Prestige, it goes up to 110%, so you get 20% extra damage against all the other cogs. I'm personally going to place this into A tier. This one's definitely a very useful Prestige, especially when you want to get a good AoE going. It's definitely very good against managers. Really good in O-close. It's really good against high-level cogs. I don't know. It's definitely one of the best Prestiges for sure. I'm going to place it in A tier right next to Squirt for me because Zap Prestige is just extremely, extremely useful. And that's why I really can't stand seeing people without that Prestige Zap. It just gets me going every single time. Like, if you have Zap, it has to be Prestige. If not, you're just harming the team for no reason.
This is another easy S tier for me. As I alluded to with Lord, there was no expanded potential in that prestige. And Zap, that is a completely different story. You can tell the difference when one person does not have it on. So if you have a Tesla that does 190, the pool damage with the Prestige is 209 instead of 171 with the non-Prestige. So if no one had it on, compared to the ones with Prestige, you're doing 152 less damage overall.
Yep,
and
right.
All I'm going to say is just always have it on, especially if you're going to be zapping a lot. And if you're Prestige and Zap, might as well Prestige Scorp, because that is the most dominant set of gags in the game. No questions asked.
Yep.
So I can't really make any other case. It's just obvious. S tier.
Yep. That's so true. So next we have Prestige Sound. Let's see. So Prestige Sound, you just get that encore boost to 16%, as opposed to, what is it, I believe 10%?
It's 8.
Okay, yeah, 8%.
They made a bunch of changes while you were gone.
I can tell, man.
Oh yeah, no, it went from like 20% versus 10 to 15 versus 5, and then it went to 16 to 8 as it is now. They really messed with it quite a bit.
Man,
they made the fog do 66 damage at one point, and let me tell you, the 2 days that happened, people were pissed off about it. So they had to nerf the encore itself, because people don't want to do more complicated math. It has to be a flat value like 70. It can't be like 66, 54. It was hilarious. You should have been there.
I wish I could have been. I'm going to personally place this into B tier. I'd say that because while that encore boost is nice, it's definitely nice in the manager fights, in the fights where you're fighting one set of cogs for multiple rounds. But more times than not, in all of Toontown, you're only going to be fighting cogs for like one round. So that prestige doesn't really come into use unless you're going into managers. But when we're going into managers, I'll definitely place this into A tier, because that encore boost can help so much, especially if you pair with a $50 bill and 3 throws after. Or if you can hold that lore for another round, pair it with 4 wedding cakes. It's definitely useful in those manager fights, but I'm going to place this into B tier just because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't come into use that often.
I'm also going to put it in B as well, basically for the reasons that you said. The definition you're looking for was wave content. Let me tell you, in wave content, sound is extremely good. Yeah. But in facilities, and when you're only fighting one set of cogs, and then all the effects are going to get reset, I don't understand why people have prestige sound in facilities. Like, there is absolutely no purpose whatsoever. The unprestige and the prestige counterparts are completely identical if you're going to do it like that. And, when that encore kicks in, you can definitely tell the difference. Although I will argue, instead of using those throws, I would say try the squirts, because you're going to do more damage overall. Just saying, my position with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't go wrong, especially when you're sounding a lot. You're going to need that encore, and I don't really recognize an 8% difference, but that 16% you can definitely tell when it kicks in.
Oh, for sure. I remember when it was, I think it was like 20% at one time.
It was.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
4 fogs 15. Doing 84 damage apiece. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know why they buffed it up an additional percent. There's got to be some really just odd explanation for that. I don't know why they couldn't do it back to 20 or 18 or 17. They chose 16. I don't understand why, but there's probably some niche reason that I just can't bother figuring out.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. So with that being said, we're going to go on to our final gag track, which is Drop. So, Prestige Drop just increases the drop gag's base damage with debuffs by 10%, plus 5% for each additional debuff. So, we got the debuffs that count are Dazed, Marked for Laugh, Soaked, Soothed, Can't Dodge, Frozen, and Kickback. So the most a piano can do with that is 313 damage. Okay, you pair that with the Bessie, and you're talking crazy damage. I think that gets about 500 damage. I don't remember how much Bessie gives a bonus to, because, like I said, I haven't been playing in so long. But a piano doing 313 damage is crazy if you can get those 4 debuffs. But chances are you're not. I mean, I do personally like the drop Prestige. And this one's going to shock people, but I'm going to put it into B tier. I like the Prestige a lot. I don't like that they changed it, though, to where you actually need multiple debuffs. Because before, you could just stack those drops up. And I think it was just a flat 15% debuff, was it? Or 15% damage?
It was for any negative effect, then no matter how many they were, if there's at least one that was 15%.
Yeah, so I'm going to place this into B tier just because of how they changed it. And you're very unlikely to get all of those debuffs going in most situations. I mean, in like manager fights where you're there for multiple rounds, you'll get multiple debuffs, probably like 2 at most. I mean, you'll get 3, but when you get those 3, it's only 3 people dropping instead of all 4, which in my opinion just defeats the purpose of drop, because 4 people using that piano, that's big damage. But I'm going to put it into B tier just because of how it's changed, and overall, in most battles, you're not going to use it that much because you're only there for 1 round.
Man, that hurts to hear because this is D tier for me. It's just way too situational and never ever gets to be utilized. I don't understand why they keep changing the drop Prestige. At one point, it was more accurate. At another point, you did more yellow damage. 15% for 1 to multiple effects. Now it's 10% for 1. Why do we keep changing it? And it gets to a point where it's not even worth it. The 3 most practical ways you're going to get a negative effect is by dazing, marking, soaking. That is it. And if you want those 3 effects, it's going to take some time to set up. You're going to set everything up. You're not going to be doing a lot of damage round 1, but round 2, you're going to be doing a lot of damage if the drop decides to hit, which it probably won't because drop is just absolutely terrible in that case. But wouldn't it just be better to soak 3 drop and then the very next turn throw and 3 drop? You're probably going to be doing more damage overall if you do that. So I just don't see a reason why you would want to have this on besides managers. That's literally the only time I would say have it on. But this is by far the worst Prestige in the game, and I have no shame in saying that. I usually never have it on. And even in managers, sometimes I don't have it on.
Yeah,
because there's just so many other Prestiges. So many other Prestiges you can use that will better benefit you. Mm-hmm. So you put it in D, that's fine. But I'm putting it in D because you don't use drop that much. That's outside true. Of managers, I never ever see drop as a track regardless.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there. I totally agree with that analysis. It's extremely situational, and I mean, most of the times we're not even using Prestige drop anymore in the manager fights. So I could probably agree with putting it in D tier. Yeah, I'm gonna personally place it into C tier just because I mean I do like it a little bit. So I'm just gonna place it into C tier, but it's definitely extremely situational. So I can't disagree with your analysis. But so that basically wraps up Chandler and I's Corporate Clash Gag Track Prestige tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I haven't been home in like 7 months, so I'm kind of rusty doing this again. But we're going to make another tier list. Well, we're going to make a few more tier lists in the coming future. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys agree, disagree, please let us know why you do, what you disagree with, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching, guys. Also, hopefully my mic is sounding a little bit better. I made sure to fix it this time so you guys could actually hear us. But take care, everybody. See ya.